America's positive, pragmatic Goshen.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody to the Positive Pragmatic. I am so excited that you're here. I am really excited. Let me tell you why I'm excited. May I tell you why I'm excited? I had an event the other day in New York City. It was so dead. I mean, the audience was dead. I was shooting my best material out there, and it was like, they were baptized in pickle juice. They were just, I couldn't get over it. It was unbelievable. I got paid. Everything was good, but hey, it was just dead. But hey, here's the good thing. I got on an airplane, got on American Airlines, flying back to Houston, Texas, sitting there so excited in my seat, relaxing. You know, guys, you know how it is. Sometimes you've been out, you've shared, you're just wore out. I'm sitting in first class there, and the flight attendant comes up, and she says, "Mr. Goshen, would you like to have dinner?" And I said, "Oh, I would love dinner. What's my choices?" She said, "Yes or no." I love people that have a good sense of humor. Now, today, we're going to talk about leadership. We're going to define leadership. As a matter of fact, we're going to come from my book, The Power of Layered Leadership. I came out with this book several years ago. It's been used by the U.S. Army, with the Chamber of Commerce. When companies bring me in and ask me to help them on creating their culture, making their culture stronger, I can't do it without first establishing principles of leadership. Leadership is key. And we're going to go through what I've learned over my years on leadership, and I know I'll come up with ideas and thoughts and words and comments that's going to help you. We're going to start by just kind of defining leadership if we can. There's so many books out there. You got Lee Iacocca, you've got Julianne, you've got so many leaders. John Maxwell, who hasn't heard from John Maxwell? Probably the master person on leadership in the world. And there's so many definitions. You can go to any bookstore, and there's not just one shelf. There's really 2 or 3 shelves on leadership. You can Google. If you Google, the last time I went on Google and just typed in leadership, there were 200 million hits. And it seems like everyone wants to be a leader. And some people on Facebook now, or Instagram or TikTok, they're professing to be great leaders. Leadership, that's the key, right? But when you really break leadership down, you have to first begin by saying, what in the world is a good definition? There was a general that worked in the White House for a few years, a great general. His name was Colin Powell. Here was his definition of leadership. I love this. I love it. He said this: leadership is solving problems. Bam. Leadership, he didn't say bam, leadership is solving problems. The day people stop bringing you their problem is the day they have lost confidence that you can help, or they've just concluded that you don't care. Think about that. I hear people a lot of times that's been placed in a position of leadership saying, they just bring me their problems. People are bringing you their problems because they see you as a leader. And you have to listen and you have to respond in order to get the message back to them that you can help them in the direction that they want to go. Another definition, I really enjoyed General Patton, General George Patton. I've got a lot of his books. One is called Principles of Leadership. The story goes that General Patton was getting ready during World War II to go on the other side of the river and attack the Germans. What he did, he brought all of his tank commanders. He was the head man of the tank corps there for the Army. And he brought all of his understudies together, all of his tank commanders, and he said, "Gentlemen," he was in this tent, he said, "Gentlemen," this is a story that has been told, "Gentlemen, give me a definition of leadership." Now, here they are out in the field, and they all stand up at one time because he asked them all to stand. And the first one said, "Here's my definition." And he said, "That's not correct. Sit down." He went through 30 gentlemen there, and all of them, he said, "That's not correct. Sit down." Now, listen, this is important to some of you people that are trying to build a team or build an organization so that you can walk away from it. He said this: a great leader must be able to be shot and killed, but never missed. They must be able to be shot and killed, but never missed. You see, the whole idea behind leadership, and in my book I talk about it, is how to duplicate leadership. How you can create leadership where you can walk away and your organization, your corporation can still run. You see, every great institution is the lengthened shadow of a single man or woman. Their character will determine the character of the organization. Character is so essential in the area of leadership. It's your reputation. It's your moral excellence. And it's imperative. The lengthened shadow of these people. I want to share about one. I had an opportunity when I was flying around the world to stay in every Marriott hotel that I had gone from nation to nation to. Amazing hotels. No matter where I went in the world, whether it was Singapore or China, no matter where I went, when I go into that Marriott hotel, I could always feel like I was at home. I could always know that the consistency was there. Many years ago, I was on a committee with Bill Marriott Jr., and we were at a committee meeting in Washington, D.C., and we were on this restaurant, this boat that is a restaurant now. They're on the river. And during the break, I went out on the back, and Mr. Marriott was there. And I said, Mr. Marriott, I've got a question. How is it that no matter where I go around the world, your general managers are amazing and your teams are amazing? Mr. Marriott, how do you do that? How do you find these general managers? How do you find these men and women that are so strong in leadership? And of course, I was thinking he was stealing them from another hotel, how I am. Or they were going to a graduate school on restaurant management or whatever. He said, no. He said, I really watch one thing with my general managers. When I go into a hotel, and by the way, at that time, he was traveling like 290 days a year. He would go into hotels all around the world. He'll get his general manager, and he will walk through that hotel with that general manager. He will walk through that hotel to the accounting department, the sales department, all these different departments of what he would call the heart of the house. And he would watch how the managers of those departments responded to that GM. If they were excited to see him, if they asked questions, if they were kind of loose, man, he knew he had a good GM. However, if they were not really in tune with that person, or they would turn away, wouldn't give any eye contact, he said this, I only put people in key positions that know how to build, you ready? Leadership. Only people I put in a position of leadership are those that know how to build relationships. You see, you can be a person of title, but being a person that can create leadership with others is very, very important. I was at the hotel in Budapest at one time. I used to go to Budapest 2 or 3 times a year to teach leadership. And I was in the restaurant there, and the restaurant manager, it was between breakfast and lunch, and I saw him, and I brought him over to the table and introduced myself. He had seen me there several times. And I said, does Mr. Marriott come here? He said, oh, yeah, he comes. He says, so amazing. He said, he'll come, and he will come to the kitchen. He'll tell me to bring the staff. He sits in a chair and has everybody circle around him in that chair. And he will talk to them. He'll talk to them about their family. He'll talk to them about their just life. And he said, people just love Mr. Marriott. And I said, well, do you have any leadership principles that are taught you? Oh, yes. He said, but let me share one thing with you. Here's what I found. Now, this was the manager of food and beverage at this hotel, Marriott in Budapest. He said, I go to the fish market every morning. Every morning I go to the fish market. And I go to the fish market in order to buy fresh fish for the evening. And he said, what we'll do, I will go down and I'll take that fish and I'll smell the head. He said, if the head stinks, the rest of the fish is dead. I went, oh my gosh. If the head of an organization, if the pastor or a leader or a CEO is not building relationships, his head stinks, and ultimately that organization will never come to its full potential. You see, leadership is not about a position, it's not about a title, it's about influence. Each day I tell people, every day we are continually influencing people, whether we like it or whether we don't. If you're married, you get up in the morning, you're going to influence your mate, you're going to influence your spouse, you're going to influence your kids, you're going to influence your friends, you're going to influence your staff. You're driving down the road, somebody cuts you off, you will influence those people as well. And what we have to understand is we are continually being observed in that leadership position, even though we do not have a title. John Maxwell, his definition of leadership is very, very simple, and I love it. John says this: leadership is influencing others. Now, in my book, I take that and go a little step further. My definition in this book is how to develop and discover and influence people through duplication. Because you see, I find a lot of people that were called leaders. They were not leaders, in my opinion, because I think you have to be positive. I think you have to be ethical. I think you have to hit these notes. Joseph Stalin, Adolf Hitler, Jim Jones got 900 people. He was in that position to die for his cause. See, my definition is the positive, progressive, ethical influence on others. Now, see, it's so important to me that you need to be positive if you're going to be leading people. You have to be positive. You don't have to. I'm telling you that it is essential if you are. Linking positive attitude success, you can read any journal and go back. I think at Chicago University, I picked up some of these statements from. Positive psychology says a positive brain is 31% more capable than a negative brain. See, dopamine floods your system when you're positive. It makes you more happy. It turns all your learning centers on, your intelligence, your creativity, your productivity. It makes you more resilient. A lot of people say, I just don't know if I can make it. You're probably falling over into the negative side of life. Less burnout. It just on and on. Positive is essential. And it's something that I'd really watch when I go in and I'm asked to come into an organization to speak or to train. It tells me immediately on whether or not I'm going to have a good relationship with that CEO or whoever that individual is. Number two, I say you have to be progressive. Very simply, when you got out of school, school doesn't stop. You have to be progressive. You have to be continually studying, looking, learning, finding mentors, men and women that can help you go to the next level. Right now, every morning I get up about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I'm reading. I like to read the Bible, first of all, because I need that spiritual inspiration. And I love some of the stories in that Bible. But then I'm also reading other books. I have 4 books right now going, 4. And they're all relatively new, and I'm just swallowing them, okay? Because I have to stay progressive if I'm going to be considered a leader around this world. Next, I think you have to be ethical. Ethical is the glue that holds the organization together. Honesty, it's difficult to find sometimes today. You don't deceive people. You're reliable. I always told my kids, if you have a meeting at 3, be there at 15 till 3. If you're there at 3, to me, you're late. Do what you say. Do what you say. In other words, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Do what you say. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. You know, you're always going to have choices on whether you want to go left or right, you want to do good, you want to do evil. Do the right thing. Be loyal and be fair. Ethics is something that I believe in leadership has to be ingrained into your soul. In Texas here, we have what's known as 2 steps. You know, we'll go dancing, do a little 2-step in a country western style. But I want to talk to you just real quickly about a 3-step that I believe every leader needs to have. Ready? 1, they need to be quick to listen. They need to be slow to speak, and they need to be slow to get angry. Now, I have worked on these. I try to be as effective as possible on all 3 of these. But as a type A, sometimes I struggle, folks. I want to speak instead of listening. And I have learned, and I am learning, that the more I can listen, the more effective I can be. And I can be slow to speak. Sometimes you say things immediately that you regret. I have regretted in the past. And I've really worked out some of my anger issues. And it's very important that you're slow to get angry, because at that time, if you're a leader, you're going to turn around and you're going to destroy some people that can help build your organization in the future. I see 2 types of leaders. I see a person of title but no talent, absolutely no talent. And they centralize power to themselves. I mean, they're on YouTube. I am the leader. Everything. You can't live without me. That is a person of title, but absolutely no talent. The other is a person of talent creating talent. That is a significant person because they're creating talent in their organization. Here's the difference. They decentralize power. So you have one leader that centralizes power, and you have the other leader that decentralizes power. Very important in leadership. You have to understand, or I have had to understand, that I can't create leaders. I cannot. I believe it ultimately is up to that individual to take on that role as a leader. But here's what I can do. I can create an environment for leaders. I can create a system to develop leaders. And then that should pull those potential leaders into that system and into that environment where they can grow. You know, we've heard it. How many times have you heard this? People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it's really true. I spent some time training in India and working with a group of people there, very intelligent people. Almost everybody in the audience had MBAs. You know, I was probably the least of all educated in that room. But you have to learn when you go to India, they want to get to know you. And you're not going to break into their little, I don't want to call it little, you're not going to break into their group, into their environment until they trust you. Trustworthy relationships are key. Create a trustworthy relationship. Guys, I think it was Will Rogers, he said this. He said, people's minds are changed through observation and not argument. Isn't that true? If my people understand me, I'll get their attention. If my people trust me, I'll get their action. That was Cabot Roberts, a great inspirational speaker. I went through that pretty quickly today. I want you, if you would, to go back and take a pad and a pen and write down some of the key words, write down some of the takeaways. If you would, send me to my email, bob@bobgoshen.com, or you can hit me up with a message on Facebook saying, hey, I really enjoyed this, and give me 3 takeaways. Give me 3 takeaways you took today. The positive, progressive, ethical influence on others. That's a key leader. Listen, I want you to subscribe to our podcast. I want to make them quick. I want to make them short. I always want them to be fun, fast, and focused. And I want you to share that. I want you to share the information with other people and have your organization maybe come together and look at this little video. Because I can share with you, never before in my time have I ever seen a greater need for leaders. So until the next session, you have a wonderful day. Blessings.